Hello everyone, welcome to a polyhedron collider ramshackle. This is a strange voice, I'm sure, because usually it's Mr. Tudor that does this bit, but he's decided this is far beneath his status in life and has delegated this to one of the minions, namely me, Andy. And with me, I do have our gaffer, Mr. Stephen Tudor.
That's what I pay you for. That's why you're here.
Pay me? Wow. I think I'm owed some pocket money, mate. This time, this is ramshackle, so a little bit more free-form, free-flowing, and, well, that's just basically keyword for we haven't really planned this. And
Rory's not here to keep us in line.
That is the big danger. Yeah, I remember the last time you and I did something like this. It lasted way longer than it should have done.
Bizarrely, and it's weird that we've actually just recorded the full episode and we were talking about best moments. I remember recording a post-expo podcast in the car on the drive home. It was just me and you with a microphone in the car.
God, yes, I remember, because we were passing the microphone backwards and forwards.
Yeah, I was holding it in front of your face.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm fairly sure it went up my nose at one point because of the bump in the road. God, yeah, that was a long time ago. My God, that must have been like 2016, something like that.
Oh,
maybe
it's got to be nearly 10 years ago, surely.
Yeah. 2016, maybe 2017. But yes, oh goodness me, when we decided, let's record at Expo, and then swiftly decided, that's way too much hassle. Let's not bother doing that again. Anyway. Speaking of expos, actually, the reason we are here... Look at that masterfully executed link.
Smoothly done, sir.
I thought so. It turns out that in the very near future, as we're recording this, and the even nearer future when you listen to this, is the biggest gaming event, I think, on this, or indeed any other planet, and that is Essen Spiel, which is happening in the middle-ish, towards the end of October. 24th-ish of October, give or take.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, big-ish. There's a few error bars on this, but that's something Steve and I are very used to. Large error bars in anything we do. Working in engineering and various other affiliated subjects. But, so we thought we would spend some time going through what is hot, what we like the look of, and anything to keep an eye on for those of you who are or going to Essen, or at least considering it and are keeping track of it. Unfortunately, we can't be joined by the other two reprobates, or even three reprobates, I should say, as they are off doing other things this evening. So you're in the, I'd like to think, steady hands of the experienced members of the team.
As you said, though, we've subdivided work and handed it off, and we've forgotten how to do this ourselves. So we'll see how it goes.
It's true, yes. When you start teaching the team, at what point does the student surpass the master? There's the question.
Let's not ask that one. Let's not even ask that question.
No, that's an answer we don't want to hear.
I'd like to say we've got X games to talk about, but I think we're just going to talk until the timer looks like it's about an episode long.
That sounds good. Have we got a buzzer? You're out of time. Is it going to be like those presidential debate things? You've got a minute. Shut up, Donald.
Yeah, I'm sure we can add that in on the post edit.
Nice.
Shall I kick things off, or do you want to pick one?
Well, your list is bigger than mine, so the ladies tell me. So you might as well kick it off.
Well, I'll kick off with one of the things I'm most excited to play, actually, because we played the base game and it's an expansion that's coming out. And in fact, there's a few expansions we're going to mention today, I think. But this is SETI Space Agencies. Now, I absolutely loved SETI. I thought it was an absolutely fantastic game. And this is more stuff. Now, we even said at the time, I think, when we reviewed it, I said this is really open to expansions, because all you can just do is add more alien races or objects or whatever they are, because you've always got two alien things that you're looking at, and you could easily expand the game by doing that. But it also adds other things. Of course, there are more aliens. I believe 3 new alien races to mix and match. There are now starting organisations which give you bonuses and starting boosts.
Oh, so it's a bit like Terraforming Mars and stuff like that just sort of gets you going maybe slightly quicker, for example.
Well, that one gets you going slightly different, but just like that, there are also quick start cards, which basically set the game going a bit quicker so you get into the meat of it. You don't have that first few rounds where you're just doing plodding and doing the same kind of things, prepping the game.
Yeah.
You're going to roll into it. And of course, we all do love more cards in a giant deck of cards, so of course there are more cards. There's another 42 cards to add to the deck.
I'm going to get PTSD based on what we've talked about in our main episode this evening, which will be out soon, but that's going to be PTSD.
It'll be out, I think, a week or a fortnight before this one comes out, which means we've got wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff going on, but never mind, ignore that.
Yes.
And there's also a new mechanism added to the scanning, which I really want to see how that works in practice, because I thought scanning was the one part of the game which, I won't say fell down, but if you were the only person doing scanning, it was a very boring experience.
If I remember rightly, when we played, Rory did lots of scanning and won by a country mile.
No, he did lots of. No, you did lots of planets, didn't you?
Yes.
Did lots of.
Yeah, Rory did lots of the scanning. Now. I'm pretty sure he did, and he won. But then again, he played it before, so let's put it down to that.
Yeah, but yes, very excited for this. We saw some prototype bits from this at Expo.
Yes, Selene took us through it, didn't she?
Yeah, so we've seen what it looks like. I mean, I want to say it's more of the same, which it isn't. It's slightly a bit more than the same, but it's going to make SETI more interesting to play again, and I'm really looking forward to that. Not that it wasn't interesting already, it's making a really good game even better, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I liked SETI. To see a bit more variation in it would be quite good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, this is a welcome expansion. On my list, now I've done last minute homework here, but there are a couple of games on this list that did catch my eye, and I have to admit, I'm going to confess right now, controversial statement, there wasn't a lot that really grabbed my attention. And I have to admit, the same was true at Expo this year. But I don't know if it's just this year, or maybe I'm just getting old and grumpy, probably that.
No, I think we're seeing a lot of stuff again and again. There are several things we're going to talk about here today that we saw at Expo. And I think what's happening is companies are getting better at marketing their games, so they're getting better at building the hype, which means prototypes and demos and pictures come out earlier, which means it's not like, 2 weeks before Essen and we suddenly go, oh, what's this new game? We've seen the build up to this happening.
That is true, because I was looking at all the Mind Clash stuff, and I mentioned to you this afternoon that Trickerion and Revenant, two of their really big ones that are going to be coming out in the near future-ish, they're going to be present at Essen, but we both we played Revenant at Expo, and we all really enjoyed it. I loved it to the point where I went out and then sort of late pledged it because I really enjoyed it, and it was a great game, even though I've still not played my copy of Voidfall. Oops. We've seen all of their stuff. I mean, I own Trickerion. They're releasing a new version or an update, sort of kind of a reprint. I think it's a 10-year anniversary sort of upgrade to it. They're adding a couple of bits and pieces to it, making it slightly more fancy to an already pretty fancy game. They're adding a small expansion to it as well. So I'm looking forward to that. But neither of those things are going to be available to buy, but they are going to be there. And yes, they were both at Expo as well. So in that sense, from our point of view, old news, but still very much worth your attention because they were really, really good.
Yo, definitely, yeah.
But something that I haven't seen before is a game called Manhattan Project NG Empire. And this is from designers Tom Jolly and Luke Laurie. And I'm not going to lie, I've never heard of them, from a publisher I've also never heard of called Frostbite Games. So I don't know if this is their first one, but even if it is, it sounds jolly interesting.
So Tom Jolly is a bit of a accomplished designer. He's been designing games for some time.
Well, there you go.
And some of them are considered like quite old classics. So things like Cave Troll, which came out early 2000s. He was involved in the old Disc Wars, which is an FFG remade. So a lot of the games he did are kind of now a bit kind of old. So I don't know what he's done recently, but yeah.
Oh, well, hush my mouth. Either that, yeah. So basically, he might be a bit old and crusty. Probably not. I'm sure he's not. But then again, so am I. But this Manhattan Project Energy Empire, it kind of takes the... apparently this is a bit of a remake. So the original edition, this includes that original edition of Energy Empire as well as its Cold War expansion. And it also adds a new expansion called UN Envoys or Envoys Expansion and more, it promises. So this is a remake. I haven't played or even seen or heard of the original one, but it does look quite fun. So rather than taking the point of view of the Cold War being all about the nuclear arms race, this takes the point of view that we use nuclear energy, nuclear power to actually generate energy rather than to blow each other up, which sounds like a slightly more a better use of our time and resources, if I'm honest. And the idea is that each player takes control of a nation struggling for power in the latter part of the 20th century, so it's relatively contemporary. And so you build up industry, commerce, government, get resources, do things. It is, as far as I can tell, a worker placement game, so definitely my kind of cheese. So, place worker down, get stuff, that kind of thing that we all know and love. But there's also obviously resource mechanics, a small amount of engine building, I'm sure. You can either work or generate. So that seems really familiar to me, and I'm really struggling to think on the spot of what you could either do. So almost Solkin-esque. You can either put a guy down or take a guy back, but you can't do both. In this, you could do that as well. And the problem with this is, I say the problem, the clever thing, I suppose, in this, is that whenever you generate energy, you produce pollution. So you've got to do something about it. So you can't go too gung-ho. Okay. So you've kind of got to keep kind of a leash on your own work, which is quite clever. So I am interested to see what this looks like. I don't know if it's on any kind of crowdfunding or not, or if this is just literally just an off-the-shelf, go buy it and see what you can do with it. But it does look awful pretty. Some very stark and slightly cartoony, maybe kind of late 60s, early 70s, even 80s, I suppose, Cold War kind of imagery on the cards. That kind of, duck and cover kind of artwork. So that looks quite good and very stark, very almost industrial, I suppose.
I think this was a Kickstarter,
Wouldn't surprise me, but it's one that's definitely passed me by. But it does look quite good, and I do like the look of it. So, yeah, one to keep an eye on, I think. That's Manhattan Project Energy Empire from Frostbite Games.
Well, since you like heavy Euros, Dr. Lewis, I thought I might introduce you to Orloj. I am hoping I'm pronouncing that right. I can't speak Polish. The Prague Astronomical Clock.
That does sound quite good.
Now that this is an actual clock, which is I've looked it up on old Wikipedia. So it's an astronomical clock which is in Prague, and it's built onto the side of the town hall. And it's a clock which not only tells the time, of course, but also tells the position of the sun and the moon and the signs of the zodiac. And it's got this really complicated, awesome-looking mechanism in it.
And it's got cogs.
Yeah.
Involute gearform cogs, Mr. Tudor.
I know. That's worth mentioning this. And you are, I believe, the theme of the game is you're not building the clock, but you're upgrading it to have this astronomical calendar built in. And yes, it's got a very interesting way in which that centre cog moves, and it looks like bonus actions or actions are dependent on it. And it's got a whole myriad of extra, what's the word I'm looking for? Eurogame elements. So tracks, of course, cogs, which you can see, which I believe are based on what action you can do. You can hire assistants, you can gain knowledge. It looks like a very beautiful looking, although a little loud, I think, the graphic design.
I was looking at the board just now, looking at the photographs, going, oh my God, my colour blindness is going berserk. This is not the kind of game you want to look at when you've got a hangover. Jesus.
Oh God, no. But it looks absolutely fascinating. And I've just looked up the designers, and they've got one roll and write game to their history. So it's it's top of the buzz, I think, at the moment for Essen. I think even pre-Essen, this might be game of the show. But this does look... It looks like a proper Essen Euro, and I'm really quite looking forward to get a better view of it.
Yeah, it does look good looking at this now. It's got all of the bits I like. It's got wooden meeples. It's got cogs. It's got ridiculous amounts of things you could possibly do, to the point of maybe just confusing you rather than giving you some kind of strategy. I love it. I love it already. Good shout. Wow, okay. Well, from heavy Euros to, well, heavy Euros, actually. Another, well, redesigned game, I think, as far as the blurb goes on this, is a game called Breaking Moon, which apparently has been completely redesigned for the Essen release of 2025. And this is from Eric Balaska and Christine Strange from Strange Games. According to the blurb, Breaking Moon is a competitive strategy game for 2 to 4 players, which doesn't really tell us anything groundbreaking there. But it is corporations race to save humanity from a flooding Earth after the moon is shattered by an asteroid. And I'm not going to lie, that's the bit that got me interested. As a physicist and former astronomer, I'm going to call bullshit on that science right there and then, because it is not the moon that gives us the depth of the oceans. That's the amount of fucking ice we have. But anyway, dodgy science aside, this does sound quite interesting and weirdly rather reminiscent of Anachrony in a way, because in that one you're racing away from impending global disaster as well, kind of previous to the cataclysm, and then of course what you do afterwards. But the idea on this is you zoom around the map, hoover up resources, get to do things, and try to basically get humans off Earth as quickly as humanly possible before everything goes base over apex, tits up and south, and we all die in a horrible watery grave. According to this, there is absolutely no randomness.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that sounds bloody marvellous. So when I lose and hate it, I can't really blame anything but myself.
Yes, maybe that's the perfect game then.
Absolutely. See, do you know what? I can actually live with that. When I make a complete horse's arse of my strategy and I lose horribly, I don't mind that because it's all on me, not drawing cards from a ridiculously oversized deck that I have absolutely no control over. That's just rubbish. So this does sound quite interesting. Certainly of interest to me personally, because that is the kind of stuff that I have done professionally, personally, and academically. But it also does sort of scratch that sort of nice Euro itch that I seem to perpetually have. And it does look rather colourful, although there are a couple of fairly grey hexagons on the board, I'm not going to lie. I don't know how big they are.
Do you know what this kind of is invoking in me? It's not a game, it's more of a feeling. There's that kind of... We've talked about a couple of really big hitters so far, big companies releasing, or at least big companies in the board game space. This feels like that little independent game. It feels like it's been made from the ground up.
Yes.
No big publisher involved, and it's like they've really put the heart and soul into it. It feels like that kind of game. The graphic design is not perfect. The artwork is maybe not matching all the way through, but there's that gives it an element of charm, doesn't it? It all fits together nicely.
Yes, it does look rather charming. I think is probably a good way to describe it. The artwork is slightly whimsical. It doesn't really strike of any particular style of art, really, but it seems to suit its purpose. So, it'd be interesting to see how this one does.
Rory couldn't make it today, so I'm going to shout out something on Rory's behalf, because he's actually given me a huge list, which he could have added to this. But I'm going to mention another expansion, because I know this is one that Rory will be buying basically as soon as it comes out in the UK, which is the expansion to Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, which is the Allies expansion. So what this is doing is this is actually adding characters into the game. Now, have you played either of the Seven Wonders Duel games, so Duel or Duel for Middle-earth?
I've played Duel, not the Middle-earth one.
The Middle-earth one, I think, is a really, really good implementation of it. In much the same way that Fate of the Fellowship is still pandemic, but feels like Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
I think it's really good how Duel for Middle-earth still feels like Seven Wonders Duel, yet still feels like Lord of the Rings. It doesn't feel like they've pasted on a theme. It feels they've tweaked it.
Okay.
So this basically gives you 3 characters for each side, as far as I can see, which add allies to the game to mix it up. I mean, it looks like there's not much in it, but I don't think it's going to take much to kind of tweak that gameplay and mix it up a bit. And I also know I said Rory's going to be buying this as soon as it's available, because he absolutely loves the duel games. So,
yes, no, he is a big fan of it, to be fair to him, yeah.
Day one purchase, I think.
Nice. Yeah, he did mention, we did have a quick chat before we started this small podcast, that it does feel this year that Essen is definitely the show for expansions and two-player games. And given what Roy's got on his list, now that might just be a very small subset of things, but it does seem to feel that that is true.
Well, we've already mentioned SETI, the SETI expansion, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Also on Rory's list is the kind of like the two things in one there, isn't it? Which is White Castle Duel.
Yes.
Which is both a two-player version of the game and the kind of expand-alone.
Yeah, I'd say
of White Castle.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you play White Castle?
I did.
Yes. What did you think of it? I can't remember now. We know we mentioned the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't love it as much as you lot did, but there is an itch within me that says, yeah, I should go back and play it because it is interesting, and it is an interesting game. It's an extremely tight game, which is probably what made me not love it as much as everybody else, because I don't like a total inflexibility in games like that. But it was very clever. And I did appreciate that, yes, if I screw up, I'm probably not going to do as well as the other players. But then again, obviously, you can just hope that they screw up as well and everything's back to normal. But yes, what it did, I think it did very, very well.
I'm interested to see, theme-wise, this seems like very much on the theme of White Castle. So you are the Portuguese have arrived in Japan. And the daimyos are competing for control of foreign trade, basically. So you're taking the position of two rival clans who are trying to influence the court, and it's a resource management and engine building game. Interestingly, considering it is a variation of White Castle, it does not appear to be a dice placement game. Which I found quite interesting. So thematically matches, and a lot of the symbology, looking at the images, is matching what's in White Castle, but it hasn't got that core mechanic. Instead, it's got what appears to be a kind of worker placement theme rather than a dice placement theme.
Interesting.
Which
total rework.
Again, but two-player only. So I'm hoping. I mean, if you think White Castle was tight, I can imagine this is going to be even tighter. Which means, again, I think Rory will be buying this as soon as it comes out because he really loved White Castle as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. The thing, they need to be careful with this because, from my own experience, I have found that worker placement games don't tend to work very well at two-player worker placement games don't tend to work because whoever goes first has a massive advantage.
I think. My experience is if the game is a multiplayer worker placement that can be played two-player, it doesn't work. But I think games where it's a purposely written, made from the ground up as a two-player game, I tend to find that they don't have that problem. I've got to admit, this is on Rory's list, so I've not done much research into this because I only found out a few minutes Rory wasn't going to be here today. So this is a bit of an honorary mention, and I will be playing this because Rory will be buying it and he'll be bringing it over. So I imagine we'll tell you what it's like before the year ends.
I'm sure it'll be very good. I assume it's going to be De Vere again publishing this.
It's De Vere, yes. It's De Vere, yeah.
Of course it is.
Of course.
Now, another one. This is on your list now. I'm just going to start pilfering just randomly.
Right, yeah.
Is the Miskatonic Tales Journey to Innsmouth game. Because we played Miskatonic Tales at Expo. And we all really enjoyed it.
We did. I mean, we thoroughly loved it. And I believe it's actually coming out proper to buy. None of this, no Kickstarter. It's just going to be to buy at Expo.
Yes.
Not Expo, sorry, at Essen.
So is this Journey to Innsmouth, was that the one we played?
Yes, we played most of the first mission.
Yes.
Or first story. So for those that don't know, this is a story-driven game, so it's going to have a big book in which you'll read passages out and you'll take actions. And my kind of boiling it down in its simplest form, it is effectively Tainted Grail in the Arkham Horror Call of Cthulhu 1920s universe.
Yes.
So it's very similar kind of thing. You'll lay out a map in front of you by laying the cards, which show what's happening. I mean, we did the introductory / first adventure mystery, which was about going into a smuggler's den, finding a temple beneath it, things going awry. And what I really liked about it is it felt like I think we could play it again and learn something a bit different this time because we didn't have enough time to do everything.
Yes, yeah, I think that's the intention.
Everywhere. And I did really like the way the skill tests worked in that if you're really conserved, you could keep on doing the test without spending resources, and it was the spending of your resource that forces the time onwards, not just actions, which I found really interesting.
Yeah, so the more chance of success, the faster the clock ticked, really.
Yes, yeah.
But of course, if you don't succeed, then you die horribly. So there's this lovely balance between the two.
Yeah.
It's great.
Or go insane.
It's very clever. It was very clever. What's that down that dirty dark hole? Don't go in there. Oh, Sid. Okay, fine. We're going down the dark hole. Okay, fine. But yes, no, it was really good, particularly when we started throwing in innuendo that really shouldn't have been there and cracking up our narrator.
Oh, poor Cooper. We did break him that day, didn't we?
Yes, he did, but he loved it. He loved it. So yes, no, I am really quite looking forward to playing a few more of those. They were really, really good. Roughly speaking, on stuff that we've done before, there's a game here that caught my attention. It's called Era of Atlantis. Now, not necessarily the game itself that will have poked my attention, but more the publisher, which is CJ Games, which you probably haven't heard of either. Maybe it does tweak a little bell in your brain, because many, many, many years ago, there was a game called Galactic Era that was being sort of developed and promoted by a chap called Channing Jones. And to the point where I think I wrote an article on the website kind of showing it off, because Channing was good enough to take me through it at one of the expos many, many years ago. And he ran a couple of Kickstarters. I don't think the first one did very well, but it looks like, given that having a bit of a quick nose at CJ Games' website and what they've got coming out at Essen, it looks like they're doing quite well, because they've got about 4 or 5 games that they've got on offer at Essen this time. Whether they're all available to buy or not, I don't know. But Galactic Era is one of them. So it must have done okay. So I thought, okay, fine, we'll have a look. So Channing's done a couple of these games, and this one's called Era of Atlantis, which it sounds similar to Galactic Era, because that was a very sort of asymmetric multi-victory path kind of game as well. Not too dissimilar to something like Eclipse, in the sense that you can get victory points in lots of different ways, if you remember right. So it was a bit like that, but a little bit more civilized. There are fewer dice, and it was a bit more Euro-y. So in Era of Atlantis, you're a secret society working to expand the powerful nations you control during the mythical antediluvian age, which I learned about a year or so ago when we started playing games here in our local institute. There is an antediluvian group, member of basically old bastards who live locally, who like drinking beer, formed a small society, and they are they're an antediluvian group, which sounds really sinister, but it really isn't. The antediluvian age is something to do with something happening before water or something, or before wine. I forget now. It's some biblical thing that happened a long time ago.
I've looked this up, and I've watched some silly Netflix videos about this. I think it's the idea that there was something before a great flood.
That's it. Yes, before a flood. That's what. So basically, the Noah's Ark myth, I think, or at least taken to extremes. Something like that.
There is some crazy Netflix program I started watching. It's great fodder for Call of Cthulhu stuff.
Oh, wonderful!
In which this guy, this British professor, I don't think he's a professor in archaeology, which means his credence is a bit pants.
University of Kellogg, something like that.
I think he's got some degree in his professorship in something unrelated, in which he reckons he's found out loads of evidence that there was some civilization pre some disaster. It's fascinating stuff, and you've got to watch it with a pinch of salt, but it's really interesting.
Is he one of these professors that carries a bottle of single malt in his desk at all times?
I think it's more hidden in his briefcase, but yeah.
Yes. There was vibes, right?
No. It's more conspiracy theory kind of stuff. It's that kind of like, was there really an ancient race that ruled the world before a flood?
No, there wasn't. No. But anyway, we think there is. We're going to spend the next hour and a half not answering that question. But yes, so it's basically delving into this kind of conspiracy theory, I suppose. You have two, and the interesting thing here is that you have two of these civilizations basically you control, and the idea is you've got to keep them balanced, and you score the worst one. So it's that old. If you've played Ingenious from what's his name, the good doctor whose name I forget now. Reina Knizia.
Yes.
If you played in Genius, simple game.
Got in Genius, actually, yeah.
Yes, it's a clever game. Played it, actually, when I was up in Scotland on the way home and almost scored a full 18. I scored a 14, but never mind. The idea is, obviously, you score your lowest thing, so it's a bit like that. And another thing that caught my eye about this particular game is the idea of bringing light or darkness to the world is what he's got in here. And that seems to be a common theme in Channing's games, because in Galactic Era, he had the same idea that you could act in a good way and bring light, or you could act in an evil way, which would bring darkness to the galaxy. So the idea was that I think it looks like that seems to be his kind of modus operandi in a lot of his game design. So it does sound quite interesting. According to this, the idea is that you've got to make your civilizations work together. So apparently the path to victory is through cooperation, rather than just focusing on one of the more powerful civilizations that you have and let the other one sort of decompose like sponge cake in an airing cupboard, So just let it rot. So you've got to make sure that both of them do well. So it does sound quite interesting.
I knew nothing about either of those games. I vaguely remember, as you said, a tickling in my brain of the old version of this. So, yeah. So something which may be a little bit more familiar is Board and Dice are releasing Tianxia.
The new tea game.
Which is the new tea game from Daniel Taschini and Antonio Petrelli. Now, this is set in the kind of 260 BCE China, so the wall I don't think is being fully built. And it is, of course, a worker placement style game where you'll be sending workers to trade goods, installing your governors in power, training soldiers, and, of course, building the wall. Now, what's interesting about this is that it is the Chinese wall and you're being attacked by, I'm assuming it's the Mongols are going to attack from the other side of the wall, and you have to prevent them, and they're coming in kind of waves. If you've played Perseverance 1, this might sound vaguely familiar. What sounds interesting about this is you're going to have a secret private goal, which it does say you may even have to protect your opponent's interest rather than yours to score points.
God forbid!
Which is the notch cranker I think any Euro needs. A bit of like, why are you doing that, Tudor? Are you being dumb or have you got some ulterior motive?
50-50 sometimes.
It's a 50-50. More 70-30, yeah, to be fair.
Looking at this, it really does look like a Taschini sort of tea game. There's 4 temple tracks by the looks of things. We all love a temple track. There's a bunch of stuff in the middle, and ultimately your goal at the top, which looks like the wall being built with a bunch of things on the way. I'm a big Daniel Taschini fan. I really do like his games. Although I have to admit, I wasn't overly enamoured with Transgalactica. This is most recent one. It was okay. I hated the artwork. I'm not going to lie. That was disgusting, and I found the game to be fine. But this does look quite interesting.
The artwork looks beautiful. Lots of colours to it, so long gone are the days of actual grey Euro games. This one does actually have lots of colour to it. Again, as with any Euro game, when you look at it at this stage, because we've never played it, we can't really say how the game works. But I did have like a brief chat with the folks at Board and Dice Expo who took me through some of the intro of this, and it does look really good. They were saying it's a really good game, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Publisher says their product is really good. What a shock!
I know, but I mean we've done stuff with Board and Dice for ages now, so they do kind of go, this one's good, and keep your eye out for this one.
Sure.
And in fact, to be fair to Board and Dice as well, they've also said to me, you want to stay away from this one. This one's not for you.
Okay, fair dues.
I was like, fair enough. And so when they've showed us this one, and they go, yeah, you're going to be interested in this one, you're going to like this one, I'll kind of go, all right then.
That's good. It's nice. It's quite comforting actually, because I have had some other things from other publishers as well, where Andy, you'll like this, or Andy, you won't like this. This isn't for you, but Sid or Steve might, and that's quite good. The fact that we've got a reputation,
yes,
good or otherwise. But that's nice that people now know us and go, we know your style. Yeah, this is for kids. Don't play this game. or this is for families, or this is a really huggy buggy cooperative game. Yeah, it's not for you three. No.
I didn't see it on the list for the Essen preview, so I don't know if it's coming out at Essen, but it is supposed to be, according to BGG, coming out this year. There is also a David Turtsey game coming out from Board and Dice, which is supposed to be slated for release for 2025.
I have also got, now you've mentioned it, a twig in my brain that's saying there is something, but I have no idea what it is.
Again, starts with a T. I've no idea how to pronounce this. Thebai?
That's the
T-H-E?
one!
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is, the Kingdom of Thebes. Or Thebes. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Thebes. Yes.
Thebes. I
don't know.
You're the one that's classically educated.
I am, but Thebes was Egyptian rather than, I think. Thebes was Greek. Wow, yeah. I don't know. Who the hell... uses of classical education, who knows?
So you're actually building a city with tiles here, and the tiles have obviously got some kind of actions or resources on them, and they're nice and big, chunky, and you actually build sections of the city and build sections of your board. I mean...
Oh my God, yep, that looks like a Dave Turksey game.
It looks like a Dave Turksey game. I mean, I don't know how it plays at this point, because again, it's that heavy Euro thing, which it's hard to work out how it works just based on that. But it's also a dice placement, and you're moving your, rather than worker placement, you're moving your worker around the board to take actions. As I said, I don't know if it's actually coming out at Essen, but even if it isn't, I can imagine they'll have something on show for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, now it looks like, depending on which language it's in, it looks like it's being published by Board and Dice and or Pegasus Spiel and or an Intrafin games as well. So I guess that depends on which language it's going to be in.
Yeah, because Pegasus Spiel generally tends to do the German language version, don't they?
Yeah, I imagine Board and Dice will be doing the British, the English, and various other ones that they do. But it does look very, very nice. Ancient city building, dice, mythology. It's ticking a lot of boxes. I mean, I do like Big Davy T's games, as do most of us. So, all over that. Weight 3.17, it says. That seems quite light for a Dave Turksey game. Surely he doesn't usually get out of bed for less than 4.
I think that's about right, isn't it? According to the BGG scaling, I think that's about right. A 3 and a bit for David Turksey.
No. Surely not. No, exactly. Tawantin Suyu, which is one of his games that I've got. I don't think you've played that yet. That's really good. That's quite difficult. That's weight 4.11.
All right, fair enough then.
Yeah, Anachronis 4. Yeah, see, Dave Turksey doesn't get out of bed for less than 4.
No, fair enough.
So he's obviously just done this on the side in his spare time.
Oh yeah, Nucleum 4.19. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, he doesn't mess about, this Big Davy T. But they're all really solidly designed, though. That's the thing. He's got such a knack of putting a very clever game together. So I'm sure this will be no exception.
I mean, we always look forward to a David Turksey game, don't we?
Of course.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what the theme is, how heavy it is. Actually, we always look forward to it because he always, as you said, he has a knack of making a good game.
He does. Yeah, he thinks about his stuff. Yeah, we're sat there with our brains broken, and he comes in and goes, "Oh, that's easy. Just do this, and this, and there's 57 points. Thanks, Dave. I was going to score 4 and think that was a good turn, but you carry on." He's a clever man.
Not by the same design team, but another complicated Euro, which was on Rory's list, and he would be annoyed if I don't mention it, and hopefully we will be reviewing this on our next episode, is Ayar, Children of the Sun, which is the third game from Fabio Lopiano and artist Ian O'Toole and publisher Osprey, which are based in a kind of Middle Eastern trilogy. Now, I've played Merv and Sankori, which are parts 1 and 2. And what seems to happen with the interesting thing about Sankori seemed to have Merv as a mini game. So I don't know how complicated Ayar is going to be.
So Sankori is going to be a mini game in Ayar. Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I can't begin to explain what the game is. I've actually seen this. I actually saw a prototype of this at Osprey's 10th birthday party quite a few weeks back.
Oh, okay.
We didn't get a demo of it because they weren't actually running games demos. They just had the games on show about like what's our current catalogue. Rory, of course, was all over it. He's dead excited for this. And I got to admit, I'm quite excited as well because I've really loved the other two games as well. So beautifully designed, of course. Tool.
Very pretty.
Always. Heavy Euro, there'll be lots of decisions to make in it. I mean, it says a waiting of 3, but I don't believe that at the moment. I think that's just defaulted to 3. There is no way in hell it's going to be a waiting of 3.
No, what did it weight Sankori as? Because that was pretty hefty.
Sankori is a 4.22.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Default,
so this is going to be... Yeah, I think it's just because there are no reviews up and no one's
weight
managed to get a rating
3.00 from 5. That's just the default.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be north of 4, I would imagine.
Yeah, that'll be a proper brain burner. Yeah.
Does look nice.
I mean, just looking at this board, it must be.
Yes. Sounds fantastic. Now, I have to admit, I've not played Merv, but I remember you and whoever else it was, probably Rory, who reviewed it back in the day, and you did seem to enjoy it.
I mean, we're going on a complete tangent. I mean, it's just me and you. This is what we do.
Yes.
Merv, it's such a clever game. It's got, you're building, like, you've got a city, and you've got, like, it's a grid, and your workers move around the city, and you activate all the buildings in a row, which means when you build a city, you've got to think about, like, I can get this action now, and I can get it later. But then they get attacked from all angles, and so you don't want your building too near the end because otherwise the raiders might get it, or you've got to build a wall in the way. So there's this beautiful balance of trying to work out where to build something so you get the most advantage of it now, later, and it's still there at the next round.
Oh wow, okay. So it's a bit like what's that one that Rory? Not Frankenstein's base. What the hell's it called? Shackleton base.
Shackleton base. Which is also a Fabiola piano game.
Yes.
And there is an element of that, that whole tracing a line, but rather than that being that kind of weird hex grid, you are actually moving, you take steps around the square city. Yeah, it's a really clever game. I would love to be able to play it again, because it is a delight to play. And one of those games you really needs 4 players, I think. I thought as well with Sankori, we played that 3, and I wouldn't want to play that with 2. So I'm assuming I is going to be the same.
Rory and I played Sankori at 2.
Did you?
Yeah, it was okay, actually. Okay. It didn't feel awful. I could see how it would be more interesting with more players in certainly in terms of the majority stuff in the library. I can imagine that being more of a fight at 3 or 4. But the game seemed to work well enough at 2, so that was fine. Ooh, only 2 remain to find Tianxia, the Incan Empire. There's a bit of a link. Just the blurb for Ayar. As they travel the land in each of the fertile grounds, the Ayar, one by one, met their fates until only 2 remained to found Tianxia, the Incan Empire.
Oh, there we go then.
There you go.
If we'd have been working the other way around, we could have made that a really good segue.
We could have done, yes. Had we done, actual planning and done some homework and been prepared. But no. This is not what you're here for.
No.
We basically serve as a warning to others. This is how not to do it. One publisher that we are generally quite a fan of, I think is probably fair to say, we get on very, very well with them. They've done some really good stuff over the years, is Alley Cat Games. We've got a good relationship with Cesar, who runs the joint. They usually have a fairly strong presence at Expo, although were they there this year? I can't remember. They must have been.
I don't remember seeing them, actually. You're right. They were there. No, they were definitely there because we played Timber Towns, yeah.
Yes, there you go. Yes. And we were talking about a game, probably about this time last year, actually, maybe slightly earlier, called Ada's Dream, which I got a demo of, it must have been last Expo, which was a sort of dice placement rondelle, nice bloke. I'm even wearing the T-shirt. Where you could put dice into this little sort of machine, or you could do things with them, and essentially you did a bit of maths, which might put some people off, which would give you some points, I think, at the end of the game, if I remember rightly. But it has been 18 months since I played it, so but that's finally coming out, so that looks like it's going to be at very least at Essen. Whether it's going to be out or not, I don't know, but I imagine it probably will be. But they're also going to release Baghdad, which we are interested in. It's another Fabio Lopiano game, so Rory's going to be all over that, I'm sure. We'll have to
He has backed it on Kickstarter, so
Well,
we're just waiting for delivery.
There you go. So we're going to have to wipe the drool off that one before we can play it. But it looks like Alicat have got quite a strong presence at Essen this year, because Timbertown, which we've already talked about, they're going to be there. There's Tic Tac Trek, and there's also I think this amused me actually, was Barbecubes, which amused me. I'm sure that's probably going to be very similar to that one where you're building fires.
Oh God, it is. You're balancing little bits of wooden meat, fish, and burgers
There you go.
onto a little lattice barbecue.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, you got little tweezers. You got to place them down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I saw that at Expo. I can't remember.
Tinder Blocks, isn't it?
That's the one. Tilde Blocks is great. It's a really fun little game. Yeah, I really enjoy. I've got both copies of it because there's an advanced version and a normal version. At least I think it's that one. And I've got two of them, so stick them in the same tin. But yeah, it's really good fun because you're supposed to build it with your offhand, which makes it harder. And of course, it's basically a race. Yeah, so you turn a card over, it shows you what you're supposed to put on the fire, and then you build up this little stack. So, yes, Tinderbox is quite fun. So, Barbecubes is probably more of the same, just with different stuff.
I'm imagining, based on the blurb, they've got me to play it, because I'm terrible at dexterity games, because it says takes 3 to 15 minutes.
Yes.
And I can imagine the 3 minutes is because I cock it up the first time I try and move something.
Yes. And another Fabio Lopiano game, Calimala, which I have to say, I think I spotted on Rory's shelf behind his head when we were recording this evening.
I think he picked it up at Expo, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Cloth merchants compete for majorities in unique action selection systems, so sounds quite good as well. So yeah, so they've got quite a strong presence there as Alicat, so definitely worth checking out what they've got going on at the moment, because I definitely really liked Ada's Dream. I thought it was a really clever game, and of course, yes, with the Fabio presence, Rory's going to be all over those. So yeah, I think it's fair to say Alicat have got a very strong and reliable track record, so I am certain that those games are probably going to do very, very well.
Yeah. Well then, I think that's a good selection of games to keep everyone excited for, I believe.
I'd say so.
So I think we should round this off by saying thank you everyone for joining us on this #ramshackle episode of Essen Nonsense.
Absolutely, yes. More of the same in the future. I mean, of the random nonsense, not of Essen, obviously. That'll be another year.
So on the next actual full episode, we are actually planning a bit of a Eurogame extravaganza. Because this should come out 2 weeks before Essen, and our normal episode should come out either a week before or the weekend of Essen.
Oh.
So we are actually I think we're going to review 4 Euro games on the next episode. So Ayar will be one of them. I'm not kidding. Rory is desperate to play that game.
Okay.
So Ayar will be one of them. But other than that, I can't remember what was on the list.
Well, I do like a good Euro, so count me in.
Well, indeed. So, until next time, thank you for listening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Check us out on the Discord server, and tatty bye.
Ta-ra.